Hello, and welcome back to the Ambitious Podcast. Today, we are talking about something that I would say is the thing that most entrepreneurs, most businesses that I work with lose sight on, lose touch with. And that is really understanding the root of your core motivator. What is the thing that's actually going to help you to sustain through your entrepreneurial journey? What is the actual mission of what you're even doing outside of a revenue number? And I think so much in business can be tied to, obviously cash is king or cash is queen when it comes to business. And that's true. But I think the problem is when we're so tied to our business success being connected to a revenue number, there's no emotion in that. There's no purpose in that. There's no intention in that. And so the problem with that ends up being that the ups and downs of your revenue in your business end up being the ups and downs of how you feel about yourself and your business. And so today I'm going to walk you through some questions that I want you to, for some people, when I ask these questions, you maybe want to get out a pen and paper and, use this as an opportunity to take an intentional exercise for yourself to get this clarity. Or maybe you're on a walk listening to this podcast and you want to just answer these in your head. Whatever feels good to you, that's how I want you to approach this. But I want to make sure that you're actually having this intentional dialogue with yourself, that you're having this intentional conversation. Because as I said, there's just so many people that I see that are so miserable in their business because they're not motivated. They just kind of feel like things are moving, things are happening, numbers are happening, but I'm not feeling emotionally connected to it. And I can't seem to figure out why. I've lost the motivation to get up in the morning to work on my business. I'm, not having the drive that I once did, and I can't seem to figure out why. Maybe you feel like you hit a goal and after hitting that goal have kind of become a little bit uninspired in your business. These are all byproducts of you losing sight of your true why and your true mission of why you've even started this business. What is the vision of what you want? And again, I think the intention of me talking about this on today's episode is to help you to get clarity so you know what you're even going toward. We talked in one of our earlier episodes about the highway example and talking about that vision of your goals in your business and where we're going. And so many people will get into the car that is their business and drive and drive and drive and drive. They never get on an off ramp. They never have a destination they want to go for. They don't know how to reroute to that destination if they should fall off track, which happens in our business. They're just driving to drive. And then they question why I'm feeling uninspired. Why am I feeling that the slightest little thing could take me down? And that's because you don't have a deeper rooted why. You don't have a deeper rooted intention. And that's what I want to help to get you clarity for today. So by the end of today's episode, my goal is that you're able to walk away and say, yes, this feels clear. This feels like me. This feels emotionally charged. And here's the thing. I don't want you to listen to today and say, oh yeah, that was really great clarity. Anyway, moving on. I want this to be something that you actually use and implement into your business and into your life as an entrepreneur. So all that to be said, let's get into the meat of it. I'm going to be walking you through 8 different pillars that I have found exceptionally supportive for me in my journey of going to the next level, of getting to a next level of success, a next level of achievement personally. And these 8 levels or wheels kind of all working together in unison as a holistic approach are something I often come back to. This exercise and this clarity has looked different for me when I first started my business to when I was at the 6-figure mark to when I started hiring team members. Like things shift. Your perspective, your identity should be shifting as you're shifting in your business. And so I also want to note that this is not something it's one and done. This is something that you can use as an ongoing exercise to start to get clarity of who you are and why you are the way you are and what you want. So some questions that I want to ask you is, what is the thing that drives you? Like this is something that, what drove me originally in my business, to be honest, I'm just gonna be really transparent with you, was money. I didn't want to be at my 9-to-5 anymore. I wanted to have an online business and I knew I wanted to make money on my own. I didn't want to have a boss. So I was like, I got to make enough money to not have to go back to my 9-to-5. And that was my motivator. So like originally money was the driver. And I'm very transparent about that because originally when I started my business, it was not all purpose driven, but I very quickly learned that was not nearly going to be enough to help sustain me to the next level. Now what drives me is I'm very much, obviously, I work with men and women, but I'm very much a dominant female audience. And something that I know is there's just overwhelming statistics about the lack of representation of women in business at the highest levels of business. So for example, less than 2% of female founded businesses ever hit 7 figures. Just let that sink in for a second. Less than 2% of female founded businesses ever hit 7 figures. And What drives me out of bed every single morning is the fact that stat pisses me off. It fuels me. And I'm like, this cannot be. I'm not going to die with this maintaining how it's been. It's not fair. Women have gone through so much to have rights and to be able to have their independence. And women are able to achieve incredible things when they come together. And so my goal in my business is really to change the statistics of what we know to be true today about women in business. And if you literally just search these up, you can find them at a moment's notice. So ask yourself, what is your drive? What is the purpose of why you feel that you're here and what you want to achieve? Is there maybe a mission in the world that you're looking to have happen? Is there something that you feel is a personal annoyance or frustration that you just feel like, oh, I just can't stand seeing that anymore. I don't want that to happen, right? I want to see this change in the world. What is that thing? Also, a question to ask is, what does success look like to you? Like when you think success, what is success defined as in your world? Like for me, I'll be honest, originally, way back when I first started my business, success originally to me was like yachts and like luxury handbags and things. It was very materialistic when I first started. And success to me, now having gone through this journey, has really transformed into the ability to have just total, fully immersed freedom. And what I mean by that is just time freedom, location freedom, decision to do whatever you want to do, to make choices and move forward with those choices, to wake up every single day and have control over your life. That is success to me. To not have someone else who's writing the narrative for me, but that I'm choosing what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and when I'm doing it. That to me is success now. So ask yourself that question, like, how do you even define success? Because again, success is going to be this thing that we're all looking to be successful, right? We always have that inner narrative, that subconscious programming of like, I want to be successful, I want to be successful. But I don't think enough people actually step back and say, well, what the heck does it even mean to be successful? What does that mean to you? And then ask yourself with success as well, which is the conversation I had to ask myself was, is my version of success rooted in what I care about, or is it rooted in what other people tell me I should care about, right? Like success, as we're recording this, I'm 30 years old. And so success at 30 was the fact that you had maybe like a degree, you had a good career, you were married, you're having kids maybe, or you're thinking about having kids, you're on the cusp of having kids, maybe you bought a house. There's this checklist. And I'm like, well, is that my checklist or is that somebody else's checklist that they've, imposed on me? To me, 30 is the fact that right now, at this moment as I record, I don't have kids and I'm not married. And to me right now, success is the ability for me to do, as I said, what I want to do on a daily basis and to make an impact in the world. And that may change. Success and my indicators, I could definitely see at a certain point, success to me is going to be my ability to be done at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock and go to my kids' soccer practice and make cookies with them in the evenings, right? Like that, I know for a fact because I really want to be a mom. That is something that I will have as my benchmark one day. But the thing that's important is that's success to you. That's success to me. This is individualized. So I really want to make sure you ask yourself that question. What do I deem to be successful? Another question I want you to ask yourself is, what is the ultimate lifestyle that you want to have? What is the life that you really want to see for yourself? Do you see yourself as that person who, like, we have different avatars that we kind of talk about in our programs, but are you that person maybe who wants to be like the globetrotter and you're on stages and you've got books and podcasts and you're this like superstar, Gary V, if you will, like running around the world and crushing it everywhere? Or are you maybe the person who's like a digital nomad who works 3 hours a day and all it is you in your suitcase? Or are you the mom who ends up being this powerhouse mom and powerhouse CEO doing it from your 3-bedroom home in Oregon, right? What does that look like for you? And again, for you, what lifestyle do you want? What does that look like? And again, this is all individual. The thing that I want to note as an overarching theme here is there's no right or wrong to these answers. There's no right or wrong as you answer these questions. This is what I personally feel. The first thing that I do is when I answer questions like this for myself, I say, what's the first thing that came to mind? When I ask you these questions, what's the first thing that comes up as a mental picture for you? Don't judge that. Your subconscious is feeding that to you. Ask yourself, okay, is that mine? What's the first thing that came up for me? And is that mine? Is that something that I desire? And also something you want to ask is, what are the things that energize you right now? What are the things that you're lit up about? What are the things that you love? Just love, right? Like I love having a slow coffee in the morning, and I love going to a hot yoga class at night, and I love hanging out with family, and I love being able to read a book or the Bible at night. I like just having those slow moments, those small moments to me. But what I also love, what also energizes me, is having these conversations like I'm having right now. Being able to be transparent and vulnerable and have these conversations that I really wish that I had somewhere. So ask yourself, what are the things that light you up in a day? What are the things that you actually get excited about? Because we want to make sure that we have those in your schedule. We want to make sure that we have those in your life, because that is what fulfills you. So as you're saying, what are the things that energize me? Check in with yourself for a second. When was the last time that you did the things that energized you? Maybe the thing that energizes you is, just going by the water, going and walking and hiking. It's your favorite thing to do. When was the last time you actually went on a hike? When was the last time you walked by the water? Ask yourself the things that energize you, how much of those part of your world right now. So what I want to do is I'm going to break down the 8 different categories. And this is kind of what I consider to almost be like the wheel of life, if you will. I think, again, as I said, when we're going into building big businesses, we have this idea of money. And it's very much driven in, to be honest, ego of just achievement of hitting these numbers. And what I know to be true for myself and for my clients is that those numbers are so flat. Those numbers are so, they have no emotion to them unless we give them emotion. And what I want you to think about is that revenue number that you have in your mind right now of where you want to get your business to, or how much you want to make a month or a year or in the next 5 years. I have a client, for example, who said, I want to put away $5 million and I want to retire. I'm like, great. Why? What does that look like? How do you want that to happen? In what order? What's your lifestyle as you get there? Is your lifestyle different to getting there versus after getting there? But let's get some clarity on this. So we're going to get clarity on, yes, your revenue number for your career. What does that look like? But I also want to get clarity on why? I don't think we ask ourselves nearly enough. Why do we want what we want? Right? Like if someone says, oh, I want to date somebody who looks like this. Why? For me, I want to date somebody who makes me feel these following ways. And if I feel these ways, then that's the kind of person that I want to be with forever, right? So ask yourself, why? Why do we want what we want? We have to have these tough conversations to get clarity of who we are, what our motivators are, and how these individually apply to us. As we go into the different sides of life, I want you to write these down. I want you to answer these in your mind. And again, let this be a guiding light for you as you grow in your business. Something that I want to start us off with as just an opener is describing your ultimate reality. So what do you think if you got to your ultimate reality that you see of something that you want to achieve, what does that feel like? What would it feel like to achieve that ultimate reality? How would you feel? Would you feel powerful? Would you feel calm? Would you feel joy? How would that feel? What does it look like if you close your eyes and you think about a picture of that life that you so deeply desire, that goalpost that you're looking to get to? What does that look like? Paint the picture. Get the clarity of the details. We really want to get as specific as possible, because the more specific we are in answering these questions, the more clear of all the different pieces and stages that are needed to get there is going to become. So what does that ideal world look like? And I want you to get a picture of this ideal vision first, okay? So now we're going to go into the different sides of life, and I'm going to break these into categories, because this is what I do with a lot of clients who will say, yes, I want to make 7 figures in my business, or I want to make 6 figures in my business, or whatever it might be. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great, but we need depth to that goal, because I don't know what the heck that represents for you, and I need to know what your actual true why is. So because this is typically with most business owners, the number one thing that they reference, we want to start with financial. So category 1, we're going to be looking at financial. So ask yourself the question of what do you want your net worth to be? So how much money do you want to have in assets? How much money do you want to have in savings? Do you want to have potentially investment properties? Are you someone who sees yourself going heavy into crypto, for example? Do you see yourself going heavy into day trading, right? What do you see as the way that you're going to build your net worth? What is your net worth? How much money do you want to have behind you? Financial is usually the most clear that all of us are, because for many of us, it is a motivator for the life that we want. So we're going to start with financial, right? So first, what is your net worth? Ask yourself and get that clarity. Another question I want to ask you is, how much do you want to make annually? Not the business, you. How much do you want to make annually? And this is also important because when I unpack this with people, a lot of the times I'll do this exact exercise with clients, and they'll say, I only want to make or take home, $10K a month. If I took home $10K a month, I'd be happy. I'm like, well, then newsflash, you don't need a $4 million business to do that, right? So it starts to open us up to the fact of like, what is the true root of these goals that we have? So ask yourself the question, how much do you want to make every month? How much do you want to make a year, right? Like, what is it that you want to make for yourself? And let's just think about for a second, like, how are you someone who's managing your money? What do you do with your money, right? Like financially, do you have it in a bank account? It just sits there? Are you a spender? Are you a saver? Right? Where are you investing? Where are you putting your energy? Where are you putting your money? So we first want to start off with financial, which is understanding the context of us in connection to money, how much we're making, how much we have behind us, where we're spending, where we're investing, right? What does that look like, us connected to money? So second, we're going to go into career. And career is what all of you likely, if you're not already, are at this stage right now of being an entrepreneur. But let's get clarity of that. Like, your business, what do you see for your business? Are you going to have a big team? Or are you going to have a small team? Do you want to have multiple seven figures? Do you want to have six-figure business? Do you want to have lots of interfacing with clients? Or you want to have 2 bookings on your calendar a month, right? Like, what does that actually look like? And something that I also unpack with clients is, what do you love most about your business right now that you would love to do more of? Are you naturally someone who is a coach or a consultant like me? Like, I love getting in deep with people and like really picking apart their business. One of my favorite things. Whereas I have another client who loves to create. She's a creator. She loves making marketing and she loves making videos, and she's naturally somebody who loves to make content. I also have another client who she's very much like an innate teacher. She's an educator. She loves to make curriculums and courses, and that's where she thrives. So ask yourself, with your business, what does that look like? What are the offers that you have? Is your team big or small? Do you have a certain type of schedule over another, right? Like, what does it actually look like, that ideal vision of where you want to go? What does your business look like? Go through your brand. Are you a personal brand? Are you a business brand? Where are you making content? Where are people finding more of your wisdom and learning from you? So let's get clear, really clear about the different sections of your business. What does that look like for you? Okay. So another question I want you to ask is, what does your business allow you to do? This is a really important question. What does your business allow you to do? What is your business a tool for? What does this help you to achieve? So for me, as I said, it's always been my dream. And again, I don't have kids yet. So I know for all my fellow friends who have, have kids, you're like, you'll see once you have kids. My goal has always been to have lots of kids. So for me, one of the things that's important to me is that I would always want to make sure that my business gives me the financial freedom and the time freedom to be able to be a really good mom and be a good leader and show them what's possible when they lean into their passion. So like, my business would allow me to be done at a time that allows me to spend quality time with my family in the evening. So that'd be the most important thing to me. So ask yourself, what is your business? What does that look like? And what does it allow you to do? So then we're going to go on to number 3, which is relationships. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself first, friendships. Who are the people in your circle? Who are you surrounding yourself with? Even friend-wise, how many friends do you have? Like for me, I've never been the woman who had, 23 friends that she was messaging at a given time. I have a very small circle that I surround myself with. I have a lot of incredible friendships that are acquaintances, but my close friends, it's a very small circle. And again, like, I've never, for me, the idea or the model of having like 30 super close girlfriends was not ever something that I ever saw myself connecting with. I really like going super deep with my friendships. And so for me, friendships were having women around me who were powerful, who were innovative, who were constantly developing, constantly challenging themselves to the next level of achievement, either in their health or their business, their careers. I really wanted powerful, unapologetic women around me, right? So friendships, how many friends do you have? Who are they? What are they interested in? What are their values? What do they care about? Romantic partners. Are you somebody who is married potentially, right? What do you see in that romantic partner? What qualities do they have? What values do they hold? What kind of relationship do the two of you have? And again, this is individual to you. You may not want to get married, right? You may not want to have a monogamous relationship. It's entirely up to whatever motivates you, whatever you see as your vision. So family relationships, who are the people in your family that are around you? What do you want to do when it comes to the relationship with your family? What does that look like? What's the ideal vision of how that relationship would look? How much time do you guys spend together? How often do you see family? Again, what's the ideal vision here? Is there a certain family that you wouldn't spend as much time with? Is there a certain family you want to see more and you want to be around even more? So ask yourself, from a family dynamic, are you having Sunday family dinners, but you're not maybe doing that right now? Or with your own family, with your children, or as your own family unit? Is there something that you'd love to see happen where we take, I don't know, device-free Sundays and we go and we're out in nature and we go for hikes and we go on the lake or whatever it might be? Ask yourself, like, what does that look like? What do you want the relationships with your either immediate family or your extended family to look like? And what are things that you would like to see as a structure around that? And your peers. Who are your peers? How often do you talk to your peers? How do you foster the relationship with your peers? So for me, I have obviously my personal relationships, but I also have my business relationships. I really am someone who wants to maintain the connection and see how I can serve my peers. I'm very much a no competition, all collaboration. So how can we collaborate more together? How can we have more intentional conversations? How can we expand and help each other to go to that next level of impact? So who are your peers? How are you interacting with them? How are you supporting each other? What does that look like? Okay. So now we're going to go on to number 4, which is your health and well-being. So one of the top questions I want to have you ask yourself is health and well-being. The first question we always have to ask is, what does health even look like? I think we need to get clarity of what even is healthy. What is healthy? Right? Like, what does being healthy mean to me? What does being healthy mean to you? Healthy to me is the ability for my mind and body to support me in achieving the goals that I desire. Now, that goal may be getting through a CrossFit class. That goal may be eventually working up to like a headstand in yoga, right? Like, it could be physical or it could be mental. It could be my mental health is something that supports me in doing the things that scare the crap out of me. I was so scared just to initially start public speaking and ended up doing it. And I was like, I am obsessed with this. And that's because of the mindset work that I've done. I've been really conscious of doing things that scare the crap out of me and pushing through and doing it anyway. So ask yourself, what are the things that I want to have as the definition of health? What does that mean? And for some people, this is really specific. Some people, it's eating keto or something. Some people, it's like intermittent fasting. Some people, it's very specific things. For me, my overall initiative with what does health mean? Health means that my physical body and my mind are so tuned in to allow me to achieve the things that I desire, to go for the goals that I have, whether physical, mental, or otherwise. My body is in line with helping me to achieve those and is not a bottleneck in me doing that. That to me is the epitome of health. My kids are running around and I want to chase them around the yard, then I have the ability to do that because I have the conditioning to be able to run around, right? So ask yourself, what are the things you want to achieve? And then obviously how your health is supporting with that. So what does healthy mean to you? Again, nutrition. What does nutrition mean to you? What is good nutrition to you? So good nutrition to me is how the food makes me feel. I'm not someone who necessarily does really aggressive calorie counting or macros or any of that. I've done that before, but I'm not someone who does that aggressively. And I would say nutrition for me is that the food that I eat aligns with helping my body to perform its best. For example, I know for myself, gluten and dairy are something that I really struggle with. So it's something that I have to be very conscious of in my nutrition. Nutrition, I also would say for me, I have somebody who comes to my house every single week and helps me with food prep. Because I know that if I want to eat clean and I want to eat nutrient dense is another definition of clean in my opinion. Clean just simply to me means eating nutrient dense food. So if we're going to eat nutrient dense foods, well, if I don't have a lot of time to cook, then I probably should do food prep. So I always have that readily available. So nutrition to me at my highest level, my goal and my vision is to always put nutrition as something that I use as fuel, and therefore I prioritize that. Movement. What is movement? Are you working out a couple days a week? Are you working out every day? Are you doing a certain type of workout? Are you just walking maybe? Are you running? Are you somebody who loves biking? Right? Like, how many times a week do you want to do that? What does that look like? When you think about movement long-term in your life, what is a success metric that you can set for yourself? Like, this to me is movement. So another way that I look at this is I need to move my body in some way, shape, or form every day. Maybe it's a treadmill. Maybe it's on my kickboxing bag. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's a class, a Pilates class. Just move. Just move. It doesn't have to be any crazy regimen for me specifically, but it's just a matter of move your body. Because when I move, I feel good. So my rule is move your body every day. For you, it may be something more specific, or maybe yours is the same. But ask yourself, what does that look like? How do I define success when it comes to movement? And also mental health practices. What are things that you would say that ultimate vision matter to you when it comes to mental health? So how do you take care of your mental health? How do you want to maintain your mental health as you go through the different stages of your business, right? What does a solid mental health mean to you, right? What does it mean for you to have good mental health for yourself? For me, my vision for mental health is a couple different things that I can share with you. I journal every single night, no question. Like every night, even at 10 minutes, doesn't matter. Every night I'm journaling. And journaling, some people obviously have like journal prompts that they use. I have an approach actually is passed along from one of my mentors. And he shared with me his approach, which was called fear journaling. And fear journaling, as he passed it along to me, was essentially having a notebook that is specifically for your fears and negative emotions. This is not somewhere where you're going to manifest your dreams. This is not somewhere where you're journaling about your day. This is strictly a place that is intended for all of the negative emotions that are happening in your brain or your body at a given moment. And this practice of fear journaling literally is taking out a page and writing every negative emotion that you have. I'm frustrated about this, and I'm pissed off about the following, and I'm so annoyed that this happened, and I'm a little bit frustrated with so-and-so. Every negative thing that you're feeling, you're going to take all of that and you're going to put that in that journal. And this practice immensely helped me to really see what was in my brain on a given day. And I'm like, that's the narrative that I have happening while I'm trying to get through my work day, right? And this was just a practice that helped me so much. So thank you, Xander. It helped me so much. And I really can't say enough how much journaling has been a huge thing in my mental health and in my mindset. And so I took that same practice because when going into fear journaling, there really isn't a goal. There's not a question that you're answering. You're just writing until it feels complete. So I took this same goal and I started another journal. And that new journal now is just literally you take out a pen and you wait for the first thing that comes to your mind. Sometimes I'm there for 30 seconds and I'm like, oof. And I have all these things that I want to note down of something that I learned from the day or a takeaway I had or an awareness about myself. And sometimes I'm sitting there for 10 minutes and I'm like, I feel like I got nothing, but I never stop until I've written something. It can be small, it can be large, it can be pages, it doesn't matter. But to me, that's a practice I do every night. I also am someone who does a morning meditation every single day. Again, I don't make it super complicated. There's many different apps that you can use for this. But I do a meditation to start off my day to get my mind centered because I know how much that affects physically how I show up as well as mentally how I show up for my day. Another thing that I also do for my mental health and for my mindset is ice baths. I'm so excited to dive more into cold therapy in another episode, but I can't tell you how much ice baths have helped my mental health. If I ever feel like I'm going through a sluggish, I need a little bit of a reset, there is a place local to us here that is called the Othership, and it is something that has immensely helped to create this curated experience for me to go through that resets my system. With pairing visualization to a little bit of movement to sauna and heat with cold, all of it just really does something for mental health. So ask yourself, what are your practices? I have a menu of practices that I do between breath work, journaling, meditation, ice baths. Like these are things that are tools in my toolbox that I can use. And again, how often are you doing those things? For me, some of these are daily, some of them are weekly, some of them are monthly. But ask yourself and be as specific as we can, how many times are we doing that? In a month, in a week, in a day. So next category, number 5, is going to be your hobbies and your free time, right? So when we are not working, who are we? And this is something that I will say I really struggled with because I see so many business owners, including myself, who feel so much of their identity from their business. So many of us, we see ourselves as the entrepreneur or the brand, right? If you didn't have your business, question I want you to ask yourself is, if I didn't have my business, who am I? Right? Outside of my business, who am I? And I'm going to be honest with you, this was a question that I really struggled to answer for a long time because I didn't even have an identity outside of my business. I was only my business. I had no other, that was it. Start and finish, that was who Kate was because everything was immersed and connected to my business. It's so difficult because you really then, when you park your business, struggle to sit with yourself because you don't actually know who you are without that factor. So again, having a business can be a big part of who you are, but it doesn't have to mean it is who you are. And I think there's a very big distinction between that. So question you want to ask yourself is, what in the ideal vision of the person that I want to be am I doing with my free time? So when you're in that ideal vision of where you're going to go and what you're going to be achieving, when you get there, what are you doing when you're not working? Like, how do you spend your time? How do you navigate that time? Where are you going? Who are you spending it with, right? What are we doing when we're not working? Ideal vision of your life. What are you doing when you're not working? What are you doing with your free time? Are you traveling? Are you working out? Are you cooking? Are you taking classes? Are you learning a new language? Are you volunteering? Right? What does that look like? What does it look like when you're not working that ideal vision of you? Another thing that you can also consider is even something that has nothing to do with anything business related at all, but also creatively. Are you painting maybe? Or are you learning an instrument? Are you playing music potentially? One of my past mentors, one of the big things that he did outside of his business was he would play guitar every single day and tap into that creativity, right? So what does that look like for you? And with this, it can also be something that has no purpose. It's just because. Like I talked to a client and when we did this together, she said, the number one thing that I want to do outside my business is I want to take my kids and fly them all around the world and help them to see the world. That would be like total success to me. That they're like 10 and they've been to all these different countries. I'm like, incredible. So what are you doing when you're not working? What are you doing with your free time? All right, number 6, and this is something that many of you are probably already doing, but we need to get even more clarity on, is personal development. So who do you want to become? Who is that person? Who are we looking to achieve? Who are we looking to become as an identity? What does that ideal you look like? And as someone who has been ridiculously invested in personal development, I can tell you that one of the top things that I know about personal development is that you today have untapped potential. And the only way to change that is to change your state, because it's the classic line of like, you cannot solve the problem with the same information that it started with. And I think that's why personal development is so, so important, is because a lot of us are trying to achieve things with the same resources, the same toolbox that we had when we started with the initial problem in the first place. And so something that is important to recognize is if you want to go to that new level, you're going to have to look at how does personal development tie into that? Who is that person that you want to become? And what kind of person do you want to be, right? What kind of person do you want to be known for? What kind of person do you want to be when people experience? One of the things that I really am trying to focus on right now is being positive and seeing the best in people. I think that there's just so much negativity in the world, and something that I'm constantly working on right now toward my goal, that ultimate version of what I want to be, is that I don't want to partake in gossip. I don't want to be somebody who speaks negatively about other people. I want to seek to understand their lived experience. I want to be empathetic about why they may have done what they did, or why they may have approached life the way they did, made decisions the way they did. Like, I really want to seek to understand. And so for me, the type of person I want to be is I want to be somebody that is empathetic to others and loves on others regardless of whether I really know them or not. It's something that I'm actively every day working on right now, is how can I try to see the best in other people and always forgive myself for scenarios where maybe I didn't apply that as fully as I could have. What kind of habits as well do you want to have is another question you want to ask yourself. What are things that you're doing to help yourself to develop? One of the habits that I am consciously working on right now is boundary setting. I am someone who is a natural, and many of you will be as well, but I am a natural empath. I'm somebody who just so deeply cares for other people and feels what they're going through pretty deeply. And as a result of that, it sometimes can take me down. So something that I'm trying to work on is the habit of caring for others and being empathetic for others, with also being conscious of how can I take care of myself. And for a long time, I deemed that to be selfish. to be that it was, put other people first always, right? So the type of habits I want to have is that I equally prioritize taking care of others as much as I prioritize taking care of myself. So ask yourself, who is the person you want to become? Like personal development wise, who's the ideal person of you? What kind of person do you want to be? And what habits are you rooted in? What are the things that you're doing consistently to be that person, to constantly develop into that highest level you? Now, the last one we have here is contribution. And I think that this is one that doesn't nearly get recognized enough in our goals. And I think that a lot of our goals, when we think about going to where we want to go, which is why I have these categorized to think about these different areas, a lot of our goals can be centered around us. It's very like, here's what I want to achieve, and here's my goals and my fitness target and my nutrition and my this, my that, right? But this last one really helps you to step back even further. And that is, where do you want to give back? Like, what do you want to do outside of yourself? What's the impact you want to make on the world? Not just your immediate circle, the world, right? Maybe you want to make it in your local city, in your province or state, in your country, in the world. What is the domino effect that you want to have? And how are you going to give back to the world? So again, this could be something like, I have a client who was saying that her number one thing was that she wanted to build homes for the less fortunate. I have another client who does annual donations to a domestic violence shelter as part of a percentage of what she makes every single year to give back. One of my mentors really leads with this and takes a percentage of the total sales of his clients and gives that back to a charity. So like asking yourself the question of like, how can I give back? How can I look to, again, have a domino effect outside of myself? So for me, one of my big give back things was to do scholarships, to support women complimentary and have the ability for people to do scholarships, to have an all-in scholarship to support a woman to go from 0 to 100 in starting her business. And obviously there's scenarios where we don't have as many resources available as we would like. And so I want to make sure that I can have the ability to teach women who don't have the resources to be supported inside of our offers to learn about business, to be able to take that and have a domino effect for their families and their communities. Another thing that I really would love to do is to give back and be able to help single moms. If you guys know my story, you know that I was raised by a single mom of 4, and seeing the impact on her raising us 4 kids was just, she's a superhuman, but it was so much on her. It was so much on her. And so one of the things that's my big, vision is to really see how can I make that full circle. And while that was such a big part of how I grew up, how can I make that full circle and allow that to be something that I give back to other women and give them an opportunity to have a fresh start as a single mom who is supporting their family. So contribution and giving back to your community, like what do you really want to do if you had the ability to really share your impact with others? What's the impact you want to have on the world around you? Today, we covered financial, career, relationships, mental health, physical health, right? Your hobbies, what you're doing with your free time, personal development, community, and contributing back to those around you. The goal of today was to really help you to see, what do I want in each of these categories? What do I truly see myself going for? What do I want to achieve? What does success look like? And it is my hope that the answers you got today are something that you can come back to and that root you in purpose. Too many times I talk to business owners who are so superficially charging to go toward a target that doesn't really represent anything to them anyway. You've thought much more about how much money you want to make and way less about what does that even represent? So listen, I am all about women building wealth. It is the center of everything that I stand for and everything that I'm looking to do with our company. But what I also know is that we are more than money, right? And money, to have it be something that is truly fulfilling for us, should be rooted in purpose. So what I know is when we have clarity of these different pillars we talked about today, and those feel crystal clear and specific to us, our journey in entrepreneurship, as you know, is that it really is up and down, and you're going to get hit every which way 10 times over, right? It is not a linear process. But the thing is, when you have clarity of what you actually care about, you can recenter much easier because you realize that it's, okay, this is the vision of what we're going for. Here's what I want to achieve. And this also is really impactful when you're someone who's looking to measure your success. Because the thing I can also tell you is you may not be where you want to be revenue-wise, but I want you to check in with these other areas of what you want to achieve and say, well, damn, I've made traction on that, right? Like I've made traction on the friendships that I had versus who I have today, the relationship I had then versus the relationship I have now, the health I used to have versus the health now, the community or the, family time I used to have versus what I have now. So I also think that this allows us to step back and start to really evaluate ourselves and our success on something more than a number, something bigger, something with actual purpose and intention and heart in it. And as someone who works with hundreds of online businesses and myself having built this business, I can tell you, you need this. Because while, money and numbers is something that all of us are all going for, we all know that it's the heart of building a business. There's more to achieving what you want. And so if we're going to help you to achieve that, we got to get clarity of where we're going. We got to know the target of what we're looking to achieve and reverse engineer how we're going to get there. So I hope today was helpful for you to get clarity. I hope today gives you that spark of what it is that you're going to do and the domino effect that you're going to have in this world and what success actually means to you as an individual and how that is going to be represented in your life. Alrighty, guys, we will see you on the next episode. And as always, stay ambitious.